All right. This is supposed to be inspiring. I believe that inspiration starts here, inside. Not inside me, inside you. That you're the one who showed up here today. You're the one who looks for the light and the love and the joy in life as it should be. And I don't think anything could get better than that, frankly. It's just how life is. And today's talk is, what is Mother's Day for you? It's very, it's a strange talk on Mother's Day. And I need to start this morning with welcoming you all. It's good to see you. And some of you I recognize, and some of you are new to me. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun today. How many of you know the history of Mother's Day? You know, sort of. Did you know that it started out as a call for peace? It started out as what some would call, at least politicians would call, a political statement. I do not believe that peace is a political statement. It's a human rights statement. That all deserve the right to peace and harmony in their lives, in their government, in their country, in their families, ... And yet, how many of you here, even starting from this old, came into violence of one kind or another, emotional or physical or whatever? Look around. And the rest of you can raise your hand too. Because you came in not having a clue about what's going on around you. That's something you got to learn over time. So, one of Graves' laws, your definitions are your law. Your definitions lord over you. They drive your values, they drive every thought, every word, every experience that you have. What the heck is God? And depending on who you talk to, that can have varied meanings. I mean, widely varied meanings. So when someone is saying something to you and you think you know exactly what they're saying, I recommend you ask, what are you saying? It makes the conversation a little longer, but it also adds the potential of clarity to it. So, a little bit of history about Mother's Day. Nope, that's not it. I'll get there. You know, I haven't done this very much. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Mother's Day itself started as a proclamation, and it was Julia Ward Howe, 70, wrote this proclamation. She had just walked the fields of the Civil War battlefield with her husband and Abraham Lincoln. She had just walked the fields of the Civil War battlefields with Abraham Lincoln and her husband. She had just written before that the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Now this is 1870. And she was so moved by seeing the effects of the Civil War, walking the battlefields, talking with Abraham Lincoln, talking to the people around her, seeing the damage, the destruction of families, etc. She was so moved that, and add to that, the Franco-Prussian War was just beginning in Europe. She was so moved, she called for a Congress of Women to gather and promote peace, a Mother's Day for peace. This is her proclamation, and she presented it in Boston in 1870. Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts. Whether your baptism be that of water or tears, say firmly, we will not have questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking of carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn what we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure others. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil, at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of counsel. Let them meet first as women, to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each bearing after their own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar's, but of God. In the name of womanhood and of humanity, I earnestly ask that a general Congress of Women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace. Hokey smokes. And it was about a year later that Anna Jarvis organized a Mother's Friendship Day. So Anna's daughter took that mantle up, and in 1908 called for the first formal Mother's Day. And it was celebrated in 1909 in 45 states. So it caught on. Well, Woodrow Wilson in 1914, now this is a long time later, from 1870 to 1914, Wilson declared the second Sunday of May, defining it in a non-political way that was all sweetness and light and Hallmark cards. And Anna Jarvis, the second Anna Jarvis, railed at that idea. She did everything she could to tell people, don't go out and buy Hallmark cards, don't celebrate Mother's Day in this fluffy fashion, stand up for peace. Wow, we forgot that message. Many of us weren't even taught that message. I had to look it up. But that's the problem. Santayana, the great philosopher, wrote a long time ago, those who forget the past are destined to relive it. I would use the word doomed. Make it what it really is. If we forget our past, we will tend to relive it. And that's the value of metaphysics as taught by the science of mind. That's the value of this teaching and the benefit it offers to every single human being who chooses to study it. It is probably well misinformed that this is a cult. It's not. There's something so transparent about this philosophy. How could anybody even dare call it a cult? But I've been told to my face that I lead a cult. I've been told to my face that metaphysics is a get-rich-quick scheme. I've been told by metaphysicians, by fundamental preachers, that I'm leading my congregation to Satan, which makes me worse than Satan himself. That this was a religion of convenience. Obviously, he had never studied metaphysics, much less practiced it. That he stuck his little dogma in a box and tried to live from that. And that, to me, is a tragedy, because there is incredible truth available to every religion and every denomination within every religion if it was just sought out. And that's our goal, is to seek out truth. Science of mind from the ancient Latin definition of scientia, to know mind. Because your mind is your interpreter for your world. It interprets what your body experiences. Your mind interprets experiences around you, thinking you know what the heck's going on, buying into a sense of faux safety. We have to treat life like a scientist. That means you test it and reaffirm it and trial and error. And you have a hypothesis, which is nothing more than an opinion. And if you believe deeply in that hypothesis and add some emotion to it, it becomes a belief of yours. And if you add action to it, all of a sudden, it becomes your faith. I would ask, what are you faithing right now? Are you faithing joy? Are you faithing wonder, awe, realization? Are you faithing love? Oh, there's a word for definition issues. It's right up there with God as far as different definitions. So, your definitions are your law. Well, about 8.5 million soldiers and 13 million civilians died in World War I, which started 3 years after Anna Jarvis did the Mother's Declaration for Peace and established Mother's Day. Wow. Now, the U.S. didn't get into it right away, but we definitely got into it. It was called the war that ends war because of all the devastation, all of the killing, all of the slaughter, the damage, etc., etc., etc. The war that ends war. Did it? People, it's in our nature to fight. It doesn't need to be, but it's in our nature. It's what we were trained to do. We react. Martin Luther King did his best to say nonviolent resistance. Gandhi did the same thing. Many teachers and many leaders, most were spiritually driven or spiritually associated, were all about peace and finding a harmonious way. That instead of conflict being a cause for violence, conflict being a cause for conversation, for discussion, for listening, for understanding. I'm going to give you a challenge. I heard a great definition about listening. How do you know that you're listening? If you're willing to be changed by what the other person has to say, if you're willing to be changed by what the other person has to say, instead of just giving automatically the reaction, even if it's only in your own head, are you willing to be changed by what they have to say? I mean, my God, it might be a liberation moment. In fact, I think it usually is, because it expands our world, even if we don't agree with what we hear. But we have to be willing to be changed in order to hear it. What a great gift for Mother's Day for us to birth ourselves in a whole new light, to start a whole new life right here, right now. This moment is when we are liberated in potential. This very moment. There's I'm a little bit of a what would I call it? I'm a little bit of a science of mind fundamentalist, meaning I think that the science of mind offers the planet, it offers all of us the opportunity to live a better life, and it gives us the tools with which to do that. It's the law of mind. This very thing I was talking about, to know mind, to understand it. Ernest Holmes wrote in It's Up to You, every man is primarily and fundamentally perfect no matter what he has done to himself. We teach that everyone and everything is perfect. And I taught every one of us can be more perfecter. Because I want you to think about this. If our minds, if our thoughts, if our beliefs drive our experiences, that means that everything in life and everyone in life, including ourselves, is absolutely perfect based on the thinking that caused that thing or that person to be the way they are. Our thinking drives it. You've heard somewhere about, I'm sure, it's done unto you as you believe. Well, here we are, as we believe. Actually, here we are as we have faithed. Have you ever wished you believed something and it just didn't sink? But those things that have sunk and if you've lived from, that's your faith. People talk about faith and belief as if they're synonymous. They're in the same room, but they're not the same thing. They're not the same piece of furniture. And Ernest Holmes and the Science of Mind, people who spend all of their time talking about their unhappiness become more unhappy. Eventually, we shall understand that all human bondage is an invention of ignorance. I like the word ignorance. Again, that's another word that oftentimes is misunderstood. To claim our own ignorance or to claim that someone is ignorant doesn't say, I'm stupid or they're stupid. Ignorance means you just don't know. And I believe the solution to all of the world's ills, the suffering in life, can be resolved through education. Not just teaching, education, where real learning happens. So here, we have to self-confront. In this teaching, we self-confront. Self-honesty is a often claimed but not often realized possibility. Self-honest, to be honest with ourselves about what we want and what we're willing to do in order to experience it. We can change our minds at any time. It is done unto you as you believe. Have you ever believed something that you found out later was not true? Yeah. Did you change your mind about that? No. I'm holding firm to it. That's self-honesty. Or did you change your mind about it? Yeah, and it literally creates a liberation moment, something I think we could use a lot more of. So what's the way out? There's a kind of a hard-minded guy by the name of Vernon Howard he was pretty tough-minded. He said, a man's failure to question the ideas by which he lives keeps his life as it is. It's from his work called 1,500 Ways to Escape the Human Jungle. Nicely put. And in Creative Mind and Success, also by Ernest Holmes, which was one of his first full books that he actually wrote. It was in the late 1910s, like 1918, 17, somewhere around there. The person who is to succeed will never let his mind dwell on past mistakes. He will know that so long as he desires any good, there is nowhere in the universe anything that opposes him. Nowhere, anywhere in the universe that anything opposes. And here's the problem. This is again from Ernest Holmes. Almost invariably, our negative reactions to life, our unhappiness, and perhaps most of our physical disorders are based on unhappy experiences that are buried alive in our memory. But yesterday can have no reality to us other than as our reaction to it. It's so easy to release ourselves from our reactions to our negative experiences. You know, the fact of the matter is this moment is not that. This moment is not that. This person is not that person from our past. Our past only has as much power over us as we give it, as we keep perseverating about the ideas that that's the way life is. I mean, you know how women are, you know how men are, you know how churches are, blah, blah, blah. All these beliefs, these stories we have made up in our own mind that we fail to listen to the truth about. We're afraid to be changed by them because who would we be? We wrap our identity into these ideas, these notions, and then fight for them. We fight for our limitations. Stop it. We don't need to do that. We can, but we don't need to. Holmes also wrote that a change in consciousness does not come easily. Why is that? Think about yourself. A change in consciousness, which is a shift in point of view. How easy is it to change from this point of view to this point of view? When I've invested 50, 60 years in this point of view, I'm committed to this point of view. And right over here, nary 2 degrees off the track, it's a completely different experience of life, a completely different expression. We change by shifting our points of view. There are a lot of bumper stickers out there that I love, but one of my favorite is, "Oh, evolve already." So my personal point of view is that everybody is perfect as they is based on the thinking that has caused them to be that way. And based on my own personal experience, I have changed my mind about things that I have decided in the past were true. I have worked with literally thousands of people and watched them change their minds and their lives changed. So maybe there's something to this thing about, it is done unto us as we believe, and that we can change our minds, we can change our beliefs, we certainly can change what we do and how we live our lives. We can embrace peace. It may not be simple, it may not be hard in the beginning, but it absolutely is simple. We can't stop with just posting post-its of affirmations around our house. We want to add action to those affirmations. And when at 3 o'clock in the morning we wake up with those glorious self-doubts and fears and wonderings about how did it get so bad and all these marvelous stuff that happens at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, why is that time? Because it's quiet outside, we're not distracted. That's the opportunity to confront those fears, those doubts. And that's when you get up, you look at your affirmation and say, this is how I choose to love my life from this point forward. I liberate myself from those old beliefs and opinions. I step out of limitation. I step into freedom. And then do it. Don't go right back to bed. Do something. Get your journal out. Call your minister or practitioner at 3 o'clock in the morning. They really like that. After 3 burnouts in my first 3 years in the ministry in the mid and late 80s, I stopped saying, I'm accessible to you. No, I started out saying, I'm available to you. After 3 burnouts, I started saying, I'm accessible to you. And if you get my voicemail, go into prayer yourself. I will call you back. It worked. It worked. So, every person, event, or experience is perfect based on the thinking that created it. I know you as perfect, whole, complete, as you is, and that you are not limited by anything that made you currently the way you are. You can always get better. More perfecter is one thought away. So I invite you today to step into a more perfecter you. It's only one step, one thought, and one act. Bless you. I love your music, Sky. I mean, who can't love Neil Young? So I like to move this time into a healing treatment, a healing prayer. We call it prayer in the general world. In the science of mind, we call it a spiritual mind treatment, because we're treating our minds to know the truth, the liberating part of us, that part of us that lives as God. And so I invite you to join me in this, and please interpret or translate my words into words that work for you, since we all have a little bit different language. As I speak in first person, translate this for yourself and join with me as I step into knowing the truth. And I look around the world around me. I see the sun shining, the wind blowing, the rivers flowing, people interacting, cars negotiating intersections without killing anybody. I see the natural order of life everywhere, all the time, in everyone and in everything. I call that action, that activity, God. I call the cause of it, the wholeness that causes all of it, God. That omniscience, that infinite intelligence, that omnipresence, where it's infinitely available everywhere, everywhere present, in every cell of the body, in every act, every word, everything. And that love that caused all things to be, that permeates all minds, so that the truth of true love becomes clear, it resonates, it lifts, it enlivens. And the activity of that spirit just settles into every thought, every word, every act. So with this awareness, I just naturally, easily fill with gratitude. My body relaxes. And the next step is to step into the river of life, and I let it liberate me. I let it float me into my next evolutionary experience. For all of this and the gratitude that fills me, I simply remain in awe, because it keeps getting better. So I let go of these words and let life itself happen in me, as God. And together, each can affirm it by saying, and so it is.